I think we are recording, so let me begin. My name is Alun, he, him, and this evening, my time, I'm facilitating a session of Night Black Operators. This is using the Operators cinematic role-playing system to run sessions in the Night Black Agents setting. Both those are great games. I would recommend them to you. Of course, the Night's Black Agents is by Ken Hite, published by Pelgrane Press, and Operators is by Kyle, whose second name I've forgotten. I'm sorry, Kyle. But SJK Publishing publish Operators. This is being organized as part of the Gauntlet RPG calendar.
Kyle Simmons.
Simmons, thank you, Jim. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, you really should go and visit. There you'll find lots of great players like these that I'm playing with tonight, and a great space for discussion about role-playing games. And if you join the Patreon, then you will gain advanced access to games like this, the Gauntlet Codex, which is going well beyond its description of zine, and also access the Gauntlet Slack. We also have the Gauntlet forums, which are entirely public-facing and open to anyone to take part in. Okay, so the concept of this game is the characters are extremely competent burned spies, ex-criminals, and other shady types that populate the European underworld. The difference is that they have each learned of the secret vampire conspiracy seeking to control the world, and have decided to fight it, because if they don't, it will come after them, and those that are close to them, and kill them, or even worse. The aim of the two sessions, this is a two-shot by way of a second experiment of melding this system and setting, is hopefully the players will drive their character's operation against the vampire conspiracy, and pursue leads relating to a significant letter written by Abraham Van Helsing. The spirit of the game, though, is an action movie, not a police procedural. In terms of tone, we have vampires operating through a network of faceless multinationals, government agencies, seedy underworld cutouts, etc. So the game is intended to be rich in darkness and foreboding. How dark may depend on how the players approach the game. But given that potential subject matter, we may touch on some disturbing issues, and therefore we'll be careful to use the safety tool espoused by the Gauntlet community. As well as the Gauntlet inclusivity policy, we'll be using the X card. It's much simpler for me because I tend not to read the chat in great detail while playing. If any player does that, I'll read that as the X card. I won't ask why it's been played, but I may ask where they'd like me to go back to so that I can avoid the potentially difficult material. We also have an open table. I hope all the players stay for the session, but we have had some technical difficulties. So if they do have to drop, we'll go on, hope they can come back. But of course, if they don't, if they want to take a break, stuff happens, that's fine. We're also playing with lines and veils. There is a tab in the character keeper, which the players can see. My starting lines are sexual violence and violence against children. We won't see that in the fiction, though I think given the setting, it is possible we will see the implicit threat of these, and we may see the consequences of these. And I'd ask if the players have any other specific lines that they would add them to that section of the character keeper. In terms of veils, because as I often say on these occasions, I'm old and British, sex is veiled, so that if sex may happen in fiction, but we will draw a discrete curtain across it. The same is true of torture. Now, and I'd ask the players to look carefully at that one, whether they want torture to stay as a veil or whether they'd like to move it to a line. Again, if it's a line, then we may still see the implicit threat of torture, or we may see the consequence of it. But that's for the players. If one of them has a view, simply delete torture from where it is and put it into the line section. And any other veils, please add them in there. So with that piece of game starting administration done, I notice we've lost our fourth player. I know we've had some connection difficulties, so I'm hopeful that Kevin will join us again. But until then, can I start by asking Jim, can you introduce yourself and tell us about your character, please?
Yeah, sure thing. I am Jim Crocker. I run a whole bunch of games on the Gauntlet. I've been around here for roughly about 2 years or so at this point. And one of my and I'm very happy to be playing with Donna, who was one of my first GMs that I played with on the Gauntlet back when we played 316. And had a lot of fun with that. I've played with Alun a few times, both as a GM and as a player, and this is actually my first time meeting Cass here, so looking forward to that. Folks who know me from outside the Gauntlet probably know me because, as you can see over my shoulders here, I sell games for a living. So all of the bookshelves full of games you see here is my stock that I bring to conventions all up and down the East Coast of the US and the Midwest. I work with my friends at Indie Press Revolution to sell a whole lot of small press and independent role-playing games. You can find me online. I'm on Twitter at Jim Likes Games. That's the name of my kind of traveling indie RPG roadshow that I carry around to different places, and my website is jimlikesgames.com. I also have a little podcast called Just Played that you can find on all the various podcatchers, where I do recaps of game sessions that I've been in either as a player or a game master, and this is one that I'm looking forward to talking about on the show once we get through our 2 sessions here, so go ahead and look for that. My character is I was the last person to build the character, and Alun said, hey, we don't have any muscle yet. And so I have built a character who maybe might be described as somewhere along the lines of like Eric Killmonger before he got radicalized, is sort of what I've got going on. So African-American, CIA, rendition specialist, wet works guy. He is the one who you look to protect you when you need protection, when protection involves killing or crippling anyone who might hurt you before they can do that. So he's my training is CIA rendition specialist and bodyguard, discipline, close quarters, disarm and disable. Think all that crazy ass like John Wick and like Jason Bourne type of close combat, handgun fighting and like gun fu and stuff like that. And my trademark move is that I can take any weapon away from someone close covering me. So if I'm within a few feet of anybody that's got like a handgun or a machine gun pointed at me, I can do some kind of crazy move that gets it away from them and, makes it into a stand-up fight. And did you want to hear about like my sources of stability, or should we hold that for play?
Shall we hold that and we'll come to it in play? Thanks,
cool.
Jim. Moving across to Donna. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about Yelena.
Hi, everyone. My name is Donna McCarthy. My pronouns are he, him, and I hail from Ireland. I'm in Dublin. I've been playing with the Gauntlet for 3 years or so. I think I've played or run games for everyone here. A wide variety, and yeah, just excited to see the system in play that I've seen both parents in play. So I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful child. Tonight I will be playing Yelena. She is a Russian operative, previously with the SVR, which is Russia's foreign intelligence service. I guess it's the antecedent or the successor of the KGB, and she is a driver, a wheelman, and oftentimes a mule, making connections with field agents throughout the world, but probably mostly in Europe, where she can drive. Let me just open my character keeper to remind me of anything else useful. I'm going to save you the Russian patronymics, but her surname is Pushkina. Her training is, like I said, a courier for the SVR. Her discipline is defensive driving techniques, and her trademark move is being able to sweet talk her way past roadblocks or security guards. Not hacking, not actual security, just soft talk.
That's great. Thanks, Donna. Yeah, Donna took my Monster Hearts virginity, actually. And because I was playing a priest, it was both literal and metaphorical.
I was not gentle.
Okay, Rob, tell us something about yourself and tell us about Cassandra.
Hi, I'm Rob. I've been with the Gauntlet for several years now, and I've been in games with, I think, everybody here. I've been in Masks with Alun for several sessions, and Donna, I've been in your Blaze in the Dark games before, and a few other things that we were both players in. Jim, I'm pretty sure I remember being in a game with you. You were a very upbeat character.
I mean, that checks out. What game was it?
I can't remember. I think it was Masks. I'm pretty sure it was Masks.
Might have been. Okay, then sorry. I apologize, Rob, for not remembering that. I just I was doing my spreadsheet of games I'd played on the Gauntlet just this year, and I just ticked over 150. So I don't necessarily remember like if I've only played with somebody once, but I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
So I am playing Cassandra Siddiq. She is a former Metropolitan Police detective who stumbled upon some cosmic horror-y stuff when she was on a manhunt trying to take down a serial killer. Most of her team was killed except for her, and she got out and was afterwards approached by an organization that called themselves Her Majesty's Pursuivants, who deal with the more occult goings on. So she works for them now.
Thank you for that, Rob, and thank you for name-dropping the Pursuivants. They are a fictional continuity between all my games, apart from the Dark Ages ones, because I can't find a way to build them in yet. But they will appear at some point. Okay, so let us start with a scene that might allow you to display some of your particular expertise and maybe prime some specials for it later. One of you got a phone call from a contact. You are in London as that call comes in. Who do you think is likely to have had that call?
Probably me, since I was a London police officer. So,
okay, so by what name do you know the young woman who contacts you?
God, that's gonna come up with names off the top of my head.
Oh, this would be a thing.
Jacqueline Baker.
This would also be a time where you could just give her a code name. Like if you just know her like by, as whatever, Black Cat or something like that, you could do that.
Sure,
too.
let's just say Baker.
Baker. Okay. Who do you think Baker works for?
I think Baker works for they're like a snitch. They're involved in like a criminal gang in London.
Okay, that works nicely. So let's open then on Baker making her way beside the Thames, along the south bank of the Thames. Just down the way, we can see the brutalist concrete bunker that is the National Theatre. Beyond that, we can see the bright lights of the Greater London Authority, and beyond that, Tower Bridge. She said that she wanted to meet late. Yelena, how late is it?
I think late in London probably means early to normal people, right? It's probably 3 a.m.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So the last performance at the National Theatre has long cleared. All but 1 or 2 bars are probably closed. The tourists have certainly gone home. There'll be some people spilling out of some clubs conceivably, or maybe queuing to get into some clubs. But yeah, it's dark. The South Bank always, in my experience, is lit by kind of almost Christmas decorations perpetually. So the rain that is hammering down is forming puddles and a reflective pavement, which is capturing all those multicolored lights. Trey, where did you as a team agree to meet her? Do you want to describe where?
We are totally meeting her where at the dock for one of those like London, like those tourist boats, right? And like it's the, you know, whatever the little like pavilion they have there. You know, the boat's all moored up and everything. It's one of these like, you know, 2-story things with like an open deck on the top, and then underneath you can go, you know, like you know, get soused and you know, go down the river under the bridges and stuff like that, and you know, wave at everybody.
Love it, love it.
On the streets, yeah.
The Queen of the Thames,
yes,
is docked. There's probably a chain across the kind of access way between the embankment and the boat itself. So we see her making her way down through the hammering rain. How is the team deployed?
I'm probably standing, you know, in the fairly in the open, where Baker can see me waiting for them.
Okay, so that little pavilion where normally tourists queue to hand in the ticket or pay for the ticket and get on the boat, perspex sides, looks a bit like a bus shelter really, but plastered with posters advertising what's going on. That's where we see Cassie. What about Yelena and Trey? Where are you?
I think in terms of maybe not showing our hand or allowing for a quick getaway, Yelena is in, you know, a dark blue Audi, just parked up on the footpath, or just, you know, with one set of wheels up on the footpath.
If you check out the operation tab, I've put what I've always thought was the National Theatre's underground car park at B7. Would that be a good place to be? Because you can drive out there, you can see the edge of that and the steps down just above it in B6. Would that suit Yelena?
Yeah, why not? I guess if we can see where Cass is, I'm not sure.
Can I make a suggestion I think would be even cooler? That you're like right there in a speedboat? Like dark and, you know, but like if we need to make a quick getaway, we can.
What do you think, Yelena?
Or do you
I mean, let's go large. Let's just take the HMS Belfast, right?
I know.
Yeah, sure.
I think that may be pushing your drive a little far, but yes.
But no, speedboat gets us out of there quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, are you upstream or downstream? So are you in the distance downstream? You can see Tower Bridge. If you turn around and look the other way, you'll see the Houses of Parliament on the far side, the far bank. Are you at the Parliament upstream end from the Queen of the Thames, or are you downstream towards Tower Bridge?
I think I'm upstream. If I need to get somewhere, I don't want to be working against the current.
Okay. So are you out in the middle of the Thames, or are you up against the embankment with eyes on the Queen of the Thames?
I think I'm, maybe a meter off a little boardwalk. To a casual looker, I'm parked, but I'm
fine.
idling.
Primed and ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, Trey, where as the camera does, because it's genre required, a split screen to show Baker approaching, to show Cassie in the shelter, Yelena in the boat. What's in the last quarter of the screen showing Trey?
I think that there is in the last corner of the screen, there is kind of just outside where you go in through the bar and stuff like this, whatever, past the chain, kind of on the sidewalk. There is a dude sitting under the overhang of a closed newsstand, or one of those drink stands that maybe a newsstand or something like that.
Okay.
And I've got a ratty coat on and a hat pulled down over my head, and I'm holding a cardboard sign that says, hungry, please help.
Fine.
But behind the cardboard sign, I've got the shotgun mic, and the hat that I'm wearing has the earpiece so that I can listen in on their conversation.
Again, genre requirements. You all have earbuds.
Yeah,
so you're all endlessly in contact. But does Trey have eyes on Baker, or are you in the kind of shade of this kiosk with eyes on Cassie?
Oh, I've got I'm eyes on Baker. I'm watching Baker coming in, and also making sure that no one's coming in after Baker, right?
Okay.
So we've kind of got both sides, I'm street side, and Yelena is riverside, right? And so we've got everybody triangulated here.
Okay. So I guess that Trey and Cassie have eyes on from slightly different angles. So which one of you reacts first when there's a gentle thud and Baker collapses?
I want to see where that came from.
Which skill do you think will allow you to spot that?
Surveil?
I will go with that. Now, the system requires 4D fate. The link to the roll for your party is at the bottom of the basic mechs tab. It is incredibly better Coyote.
Are you cool if I just roll my fate dice that I got in my hand right now?
That's fine. And I know Rob likes real dice as well.
Yeah. There we are.
And what I need to know, Cass, is how many of them are pluses. Because you have Surveil 1, you need just one plus to succeed. The other pluses are, as Lowell might say, gravy.
Maybe don't do that. One off the table. I got one.
One. And I need to know how many of the others are minuses.
One.
Okay. Now, in my interpretation of this game, those minuses count as complications. So I'm going to take that one complication. I'm not going to apply it now. I'm going to keep it in my back pocket. Complications are also the way that in Night's Black Agents, aberrance powers the occult powers. Complications, as well as doing other things, will power those occult doings. So with a success, you can spot that on the third layer of the National Theatre, behind a concrete wall, you see a slight reflection as if from a scope. Okay? Meanwhile, Trey, what do you do?
I am going to, I'm like, you know, kind of explode up out from that sitting position, tossing that, you know, whatever, the cardboard is off to the side, and I'm just like getting quick across to get to Baker, so that to see if I can like grab her up and then get us down behind like a you know, like a something solid, like a, you know, a traffic stanchion or
the cover is a bench, a concrete and wooden bench.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can just grab her, like quick grab her up, you know, throw her into a fireman's carry, and get us behind that bench as quick as I can.
That sounds like move to me.
Yeah, sure.
So how many pluses and how many minuses?
Let's see what we got happening here. +2, -1.
Okay, so I will mark a complication for Trey. You have a plus, so it succeeds. Your move is 1. What do you want to? Would it be fair to say that that extra plus gets you where you need to be swiftly? Is that a good enough advantage?
Yep, that's what we're looking for. Yeah.
Okay, so Yelena, you've heard this. What? No, that's true. What has Yelena heard over the comms link?
Well, I mean, if the others haven't spoken, then I'm just hearing maybe some background noise. I certainly wouldn't hear a suppressed shot over that kind of comm. So unless someone is...
No, I am reporting that location.
Okay, so Yelena, second story of the National Theatre. You can see the building because the top of it's always lit up in some neon purple or pink color. So what do you do, Yelena?
So I'm gonna pull away from the boardwalk a bit gently, and then just let the others know I'm on my way. I can pick them up on the other side of the river in 27 seconds.
Okay, so Trey, you have the body, or Baker. You have Baker. Cassie, you know where it was, where the shot came from. What do you do about it, if anything? Or do you just take cover?
So I am going to try and I'm going to try and figure out a route to get to the second story that where they were, and basically just pelt it there.
Okay. I guess about 50 paces, 50 yards away, there's one of those entrances that leads to a concrete surrounded spiral staircase of sorts that will take you to the first or second level. So at the run? At the run? Are you off now, or are you going to pause?
I'm going to run. Yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah?
Yep.
Now, if you check out the basic mechanics, you can see there how chases work. I'm going to say that the antagonist in this circumstance is a challenge. So to catch the antagonist, the PC must accumulate a number of pluses equal to 2 times the antagonist's move or drive within 2 moves. So the antagonist has a move of 2, so you have 4 rounds to accumulate. Sorry, you have 2 rounds to accumulate 4 pluses. Okay?
Okay.
So let's have you start that chase.
All right. So this is a move action, yeah?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So
you're looking for net pluses.
Oh, that's 2 minuses.
Oh dear. So no. So currently you're on -2. So you have to work very hard in the next couple of rounds. Yelena, where are you aiming to get to? Where Trey is, or where Yelena is running towards? Where Cass is running towards. Sorry.
I am kind of assuming that Cass can take care of this, and that making contact with the asset is the most important thing. So unless Cass tells me definitely turn towards the National Theatre, I'll be making my way towards where Trey is.
Okay, Trey, what do you do when two guys in wetsuits clamber up over the embankment about 10 paces away from you?
So first thing, quick visual inspect. Is there an obvious like gunshot wound that I need to deal with immediately so that she doesn't die?
I think that's treat then. I'll let you do that before they arrive.
Yeah. This is just a fast, quick, visual inspect, like just run my hand down her back kind of thing like that. Oh, I got a -1 with no pluses.
Now she's fine. The blood on your hand suggests that's not entirely true, but she, from your point of view, she's not dying.
Got it. Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna let her drop, and if these assholes are just coming up out of the out of the river, but not all the way out of the river, I'm just gonna like 3 or 4 quick steps across to one of them, and I do a snap kick at one of them that knocks their mask off. So that one of them can't see, and then I can deal with the other one.
The way that fights work in this is you roll the 4 dice. Pluses are things that go well for you. Minuses are things that go badly for you, and then you can narrate them in any order you like.
Got it. So basically, I throw myself at these guys as they're getting out of the water, while I've still got
Let's see how many pluses.
A little bit of advantage. Let's see how that goes. That is +1. No minuses.
Okay, so you do that. +1 means that you achieve, because you have fight of 1, so you achieve your aim. You get to them before anything unpleasant happens. But apart from displacing this guy's mask, you don't do any harm on him. Don't apply any stress. But because you got no negatives, nor did he. So they're just going to keep on coming up out of the water, and we'll deal with that in a moment.
Sure.
I think Yelena. That is, you may well see on the bank Trey now engaged with 2 assailants. What do?
Are they completely out of the water, or?
They are now.
Okay.
They're up on the embankment with him.
So I think it would be a great move. No, it wouldn't, because I think the asset's fine, right, as well, if Trey has communicated that to me. So we can't leave her behind. So I think I'm going to maybe slow down the boat just as I come up alongside and take out a shotgun from underneath the tarpaulin.
Because there's always one there.
Well, that's what tarpaulins are for.
And I turn to the other guy and I go, "Sorry, man, 27 Mississippi."
Okay, Yelena, that sounds like shoot.
Which I am moderately okay at.
So
not my strong suit. I would much prefer I've just run them over in the speed.
So you need to roll 2 pluses to succeed, and then it's a question of whether it goes any better than that. Okay, so that's a plus and a minus. So I'm afraid you don't hit, and the minus, I'm not gonna skin you for that now and have you hit Trey. I'm going to stock up that complication for later. Meanwhile, Cassie, you're up at the 2nd level. What do?
So I'm heading to where I last saw them, and I'm just going poke head out windows to see, where they've gone.
I'm quite keen for you to see for us to see some of your parkour here, actually. So I think that you will see them now on the level below, running to another staircase.
Okay. So do I need to prime that first, sir?
Well, the way this works is that the first time you use it, you prime it, and then you'll get the benefit of it at a later date.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to see, the thing with the specials is we need to see you do them to enable you to do them later. So this is showing the audience how cool you are at this, so that when you do it next time, everyone's just expecting it. So that's a straightforward move then. So the chase continues, but with you leaping about now rather than just using staircases, because that's so boring.
Yeah. Yep. 1 plus.
1 plus, no minuses?
Nope.
Well, you've made up some of what you lost by taking the long route up those stairs. But you can now prime your discipline for later use if you choose to. So the shot goes off. One of them turns and levels a revolver at you, Yelena. The other one is too close to you to use his weapon, I think, Trey. So Trey, you tell me what you do first.
Oh, what do I do first? So I'm like there's one guy pointing a pistol at Yelena, and the other one is I'm actually mixed up with, right?
Or you can be mixed up if you choose to be.
Okay.
You are close.
Cool. So I did that snap kick that knocked his mask aside. So then I'm just gonna kind of step in, hit him hard with a shoulder. I'm trying to knock him into the water so that Elena has someone to run over.
Okay, let's see you fight again, please.
Yeah, let's see how we do.
You need 1 plus to succeed in your aim.
No, that's +0 -3.
Right. So you don't manage to get it. He's a lot better than he looked, isn't he? I am now, I think, going to apply 1 point of physical stress. No, do you want mental or physical stress? Do you want to be hurt or pissed off?
Oh, hurt.
Okay, then mark a point of physical stress. But we did see you try to close quarter disarm this. No, you have to succeed in that, I think, in order to prime that.
Well, this guy and I are just like, we're wrestling, basically, like throwing punches and kicks and, like plowing into each other.
Yelena, that makes it slightly simpler for you because now there is a separation between the guy who fired at you and the guy that Trey is mixing it up with. So what do you do?
I mean, he's pointing a revolver at me, right? So I am going to maybe drop the shotgun and do some evasive maneuvers in the speedboat. And, he's got probably 5 shots because he seems like a professional, maybe 6 if I'm unlucky. But, I'm going to waste his full span of rounds in that revolver.
So it seems to me that this is about your drive skill. And I guess that failures could turn into damage on you or the boat. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be upset if he shoots my boat, but them's the breaks.
Oh, so that's plus and 2 minuses.
We are saving our good rolls for later.
Of course, when it really matters. No, I appreciate that. And this scene was entirely designed to allow you to show off stuff. So it's all going terribly well. So you do succeed in avoiding the fire, and he does kind of bang, bang, bang. He does let off some shots at you. But I think I will take one of that as a complication for, sorry, wrong one. One of that as a complication for later. And I'll use one of the minuses to say you now have a fuel leak. Okay? Let's cut straight back to Cass, who is, we've seen Cass leaping from balustrade to balustrade. If you can't, you need to start closing with him or he's going to be away.
Okay. So I'm going to roll. Okay, so that's a plus, and a minus.
Okay, so that's net +1 all told so far. Unless you want to use any of that parkour pursuit to turn any to re-roll any blanks, or do you want to save this up for later?
I think I'll save it for later. Like, it's like I don't have to catch the person. It's just like I'm doing cool parkour stuff.
Exactly. And those that Met Police training is just kicking in now, isn't it? When was the first time you used parkour in uniform? Tell us about it.
I think it was like one of my early, on the beat, trying to. I was with detectives trying to arrest a suspect, and they ran, and the detectives were, not in the best of shape, so they were kind of lagging behind, and the suspect was quite nimble themselves. Maybe had a bit of parkour expertise themselves, and eventually had the suspect in cuffs, and the inspectors came huffing and puffing into the alley. Like, took you long enough.
And if I can just embellish that, I think that this is daylight in a council estate in London. And at the end, we see you, the cuffed suspect, and the huffing and puffing detectives, and then a group of teenagers going, yeah. So I think that primes parkour. Let's cut to Trey. You have a guy that you are confronting and another possible target who is now running past you towards Baker.
Oh,
what do you do, Trey?
So yeah, if he's going after Baker, then yeah, so if I'm coming in the middle of a fight or something like that, then I'll just kind of like straight arm the guy that I'm with, and gun comes out, and I just put a couple of rounds into the guy that's going by me. You're muted, Alan.
Let's treat that as fight, I think.
Yeah, sure. That's close quarters stuff. +1 -2.
Okay, the +1 means that you get a shot off that takes down the runner, but the other guy does a point of physical harm on you, or mental. You can be pissed off by the fact that he managed to get a blow in with one of those minuses.
Well, let's see. So if I've got 1 physical stress, this would put me to 2. Is how that would work? Yeah. Okay. Cool. No,
okay.
He's like I turned away from him, which means he almost certainly got like a hard kick in, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like belted me in the head or whatever.
Yeah, that close up of you going. Oof,
yeah.
Is center screen. Okay, Yelena, you are clear. You see Trey. I think it would be fair to say that it looks like Trey's having some trouble.
So I'm going to assume that the embankment is going to be kind to me for any kind of crazy maneuver. Is that right, Alan? Or is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a dramatic imperative that what you need is where you need it.
I didn't want to take it for granted in the first scene, but yeah, sure. Yeah, so I think I'm going to drive this soon not for this world speedboat up that embankment and try to lamp the guy. A decapitation by the propellers is fine by me.
I think that looks so good, it's impossible not to go with it. Let's put a ramp at the back of the Queen of the Thames, and let's have you fly up that ramp, and yeah, drive like the devil. Yeah. So that's 1+. So you succeed. Trey, you see it coming. I think I am going to want you to roll move to throw yourself.
I mean, I might have given him a heads up, but even so.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I know what's coming. I hear the motor gun, and then I'm getting out of the way as here it comes. My move gets me +1 -1.
Okay, so +1, you get out of the way. This guy is just squashed under the speedboat, which is sitting there, propellers whirring up on the pavement of the embankment. That, I think I'm going to capture that minus as an additional complication for later. Cassie, I think this is your last chance. If you don't, I think you probably need 3 pluses in this roll in order to get the net 4 you need before the guy disappears.
So it's 2 pluses and 1 minus.
By the time you've leapt from balustrade to balustrade, you will be in time to see a motorcycle racing away. So the antagonist, you've lost him. So
Do I get the license plate on that motorcycle before it gets out of sight?
I'm prepared to let you surveil.
Okay.
Just as it's flashing under the street lights.
Okay, that's 1+. I have surveil at 1.
Fine. No minuses?
2.
Fine. Okay. I won't make you sweat for this one. You do get the number plate, and when you inquire of your contacts, you will discover that it's a false number plate. Yeah. And I've taken the last minus as a complication. So we see Cassie with a seeing the motorcycle disappearing at the London night. Trey and Yelena, you got a motorboat.
I mean, this is not how I usually make deliveries, Trey.
Hey, when you're on the river, you got to go with the, you go where the river takes you.
I mean, I think the Metropolitan Police might give me a ticket for this one.
Well, then we should be gone before they get here. And
that you anticipate me. I'm going to use one of the complications on Trey, reduce that by 1, and you can hear the Nina, Nina, Nina of the Met Police. What's the plan? What are you going to do?
We're going to get her out of here. And oh yeah, okay. And this is where I point at the boat and say, get that started, send it down the river. We'll be somewhere else, but they'll be looking at that.
Well, let's get the body in there, cover our trail, and give them a funeral for a Viking, right?
So am I right? You're looking to now relaunch the motorboat off the embankment back into the river.
No, I like the speedboat's fucked. So we want to get
the Queen of the Thames.
Get the Queen of the Thames rolling down the river, and they're gonna there's no way that you can ignore that, and then we'll be going the opposite direction. Muted, Alan.
You're muted, Alan.
It wouldn't be one of my games if I wasn't muted at least twice. So, Cassie, this bizarre message comes into your ear saying, we're just going to move the Queen of the Thames downstream. Go ahead. This has to be just a simple drive, surely, because it's just a boat.
My industry standard result is 1 + 1 minus.
So the Queen of the Thames begins to edge out into the river with with two assailants in frogman's gear on the deck. I think, Yelena, are you going with it?
Well, I think I have to at least steer it away, and then I'm going to jump back off. Are we leaving the frogmen on the Queen of the Thames or above the soon-to-be fiery speedboat?
Leave them on the Queen of the Thames. That'll give the Mirror something to write about.
So the frogmen are going down the river. We have a speedboat, and we have Baker. Cassie, are you going back to the embankment, or are you going to whichever safe house you'd arranged as your rendezvous?
If I'm hearing police sirens, and yeah, I'm gonna head back to the safe house.
Okay, so that leaves Trey and Yelena with Baker on the embankment. What's the plan?
Two of us just get one, like each of us takes an arm. We grab a couple of like cast up, like just reach into the trash, the rubbish tin. What do you guys call it? A tip?
Rubbish bin.
The rubbish bin that's right next to the trash can, as we would say in the USA. I hand her an empty Guinness can. I take an empty Guinness can myself, and we just walk down the embankment, just like singing singing Manchester United song or something like that. We don't
want to get murdered. We're in London.
Well, whatever. Sorry, whatever it is. Sorry. Okay, so that's me. That's me being an American.
Sorry, Alan. Do I notice that Baker is toast, or?
I think that's treat. If you want to, I mean, the question now is: do you want to spend time examining? Oh, sorry. Did you say Baker or the speedboat?
Baker.
So yeah. Do you want to spend time examining Baker, or do you want to get off site?
We got to get out of here. If we can't get arrested.
I mean, I'm trusting that Trey knows that she's alive, right? So I am gonna pop up our drunken colleague.
Yeah, and if she's not, there's not a heck of a lot we can do about that. Like here with the cops about to arrive.
Okay, I think that probably this is about conceal, isn't it? This is how good does this ploy work?
Yeah, I'll roll that. I'm actually really good at this.
Indeed, you are.
It's like a bodyguard thing. So I got a +1, -0.
Okay, so you succeed. Trey, tell us about a time when a similar thing happened when you were working for the CIA.
Oh man. Oh yeah. I'll tell you when a similar thing happened when I was working for the CIA. I was in Dubai, right? And it was one of these like conferences for billionaires that kind of like whatever, solutions for tomorrow's synergies or something like that, just like a bunch of buzzwords strung together. And they just invite, it's an excuse for a bunch of CEOs to get together in Dubai and like just be incredibly hedonistic. And like this was like a fancy reception, and I'm there protecting, the CIA wants to make sure that nothing happens to this like tech bro douchebag billionaire that like would be really bad news if anybody got a hold of him or anything happened to him. And, I'm in the waiter's uniform and all this kind of stuff and everything. And I've got like a tray of champagne, and like there is like an Azerbaijani assassin like walking towards him with a tray of canapes. And so this is one of those things where like I just like cut in front of him and like, you know, like stuck a knife, you know, like up, like between his ribs, and like, you know, kind of like swirled the tray like into the hands of the billionaire, who's just like staring at it confused, and then just kind of, you know, threw his arm around my neck and said, you know, and just kind of very careful, and, you know, and then just like walked him through into the kitchen.
You told him, yeah, don't eat the shrimp. It goes badly for you.
Great. Well, I think that certainly primes training. Yeah. Okay, so I think that we now cut back to the safe house, the flat on the 10th floor of a block of flats, whatever. You have Baker, who I fear is dead. So you have an option. Do you dump Baker before you get back to the safe house, or do you take her with you?
No, we're gonna want to autopsy her, or we're gonna want to see if she's carrying anything, if she, you know, concealed anything in her body or anything like that. We're definitely not just gonna throw her in our dumpster somewhere.
Okay, so Cassie, you're already there.
Yeah, I think I'm just getting off the phone with my contact, and like, yeah, the license plates are fake.
Yeah, I think that little bit of what was going on off screen, because though it says on the character keeper flashback to prime this, it could be just something going on somewhere else. So I think we flash to your contact at Scotland Yard, New Scotland Yard. You know, typing into it, and it comes up no, unknown, unknown, unknown. So you can prime training with that one. Okay. And that puts all of you at the safe house. What do we do next?
Well, Cass, she
I tell you what, I've just realized that I've run slightly past when I was going to put a break in. Shall we put a 10-minute break in now?
It's a perfect time for it, yeah.
Back at hour, and we'll pick up in the safe house then. See, this won't stop recording if we stop doing stuff, will it, Jim?
I don't think that it will.
That's a Jitsi thing.
Yeah, it shouldn't. It should keep going. If it does, like when we get back, we'll double check to make sure that it is still recording. If it's not, you just click record again, and what will happen is there'll be two files, one for the first half, one for the second half.
Fine. Okay, so back at hour. See you then. No, thanks for this, Jim. It seems to be working. That's all we can ask.
I'm sorry, I didn't mute, so you could probably hear me eating my...
No. I was just thanking you, Jim, for giving us access to your Zoom, because it's working. Well, you know, apart from for Kevin, and I think that it sounds like he may have an audio feed issue if he had the problem with 2 different setups.
Yeah, of the kind of post Hangout solution, I have found this one to be by far the most stable and reliable, and you know, I've gotten good video out of it and stuff like that. So
yeah, I don't know if I can bring myself to pay for the service is the killer. But time will tell.
But certainly you know, you can poll the delegation of your players and say, hey, does anyone have a paid Zoom account? Do you mind hosting?
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like for me, I can actually treat it as a business expense. Because I'll almost certainly use it for other stuff as well. So
yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure that my education consultancy company will cover it quite in the way that someone who sells games for a living could.
Well, yeah. Also, I approve the expenses that I that I submit to myself. So.
Yeah, it must be said that my wife is my chief financial officer, so it's kind of, you know.
There we go.
I'd hope we'd be okay. Donna, what have you used for your games?
Well, unfortunately, August has been a bit of a terrible month for me, gauntlet-wise. The first game I tried, which was on the 1st of August, was on Jitsi, and I had huge problems. And I think it was just me. I had a new router, and we were also using Roll20, which I think caused some problems. So I dropped out of that game and let it go ahead without me because it just wasn't working. And then I had 2 games planned the last couple of weeks, and they both didn't make due to numbers. So I've no solution to the new post-Hangouts world.
No, I think we're all just stumbling forward in the dark. Okay, so we're back in the room. So we are in the safe house. The body of Baker is lying there. What do we see happening?
Well, you know, Trey's got a couple of guns out and kind of, you know, checking them, making sure everything's good to go and everything. And I think that, like, we've put the leaves of the, you know, whatever this, like, cheap IKEA table that we've got here, we've put the leaves out. She's laid out on it, you know, and I've stripped all her clothes off completely, and, you know, I've got some, you know, whatever, like some latex gloves on, and...
The bullet entered just below the collarbone, exited below the ribs on the other side. Your best guess is that she was bleeding out when you checked her, and you just didn't find the exit wound as the way you thought it would be. So that's the quick autopsy. What about Cassie and Yelena? What are you interested in?
I'm checking what she was carrying. You know.
She has a wallet. She has credit cards in there that are not in the name Baker. They're in the name of Josephine Appleton. And that appears to be her real identity. But in the wallet, you find the only thing that doesn't fit with that, I guess, is you find a piece of paper with an address in Strasbourg on it and a name. And you also find her phone.
Okay, I'll check contacts on the phone. Recent contacts.
Your immediate response, because you've done this kind of work, is that this is a burner phone.
Yeah.
It has a single call in it from yesterday to what looks to be a French telephone number.
Okay.
Elena?
Yeah. I mean, the body and the effects seem to be all we're working with now. So I think I'm looking at travel plans for Strasbourg. Is that French phone number from the Strasbourg region, or can I tell?
I wonder whether this is an opportunity for you to demonstrate your courier with Russian intelligence. Give me a very brief flashback of a time when you were working for the Russians that would show us you using a skill to do this.
Well, I think Strasbourg is a great place to work, to be ferrying people in and out of. It's a center, or at least was, of European activity. A lot of low-hanging fruit in terms of turning assets, bribing assets for the Russians. We can make a lot of trouble in Europe if we can find the right kind of idiots. So yeah, I think we've had plenty of hard driving across the channel, say from London to Paris. Switching cars in underground car parks, switching from one discrete German-made auto to another.
You've totally driven a car down the channel at least once, haven't you?
I mean, I could neither confirm nor deny that, Trey.
And I think in that little montage of you doing work, we will see you flicking through phone addresses, and you will spot in that flashback one of those telephone numbers that is a Strasbourg number, and the code matches the one that Cass has found in the phone for yesterday's call. So I think that gives me an excuse to ask you to prime training. So yeah, the address, the name and the address on the piece of paper is that of Pierre Athanet, who is a quick Google search will discover that he is the owner of Livres Anciennes, a bookshop in a courtyard off Rue de Orfèvre near the cathedral in Strasbourg. And it won't take you any more effort to pull up the map that I've put in the operations tab, showing the center of the old city, the Ile de Cité in Strasbourg. You can see the cathedral, and you can see that I've marked on there in yellow the location of Livres Anciennes. Yeah, so Yelena is making travel plans. Is there anything else that you want to do in this scene?
Yeah, so here's a mechanical thing where I'm not sure how it works. Kind of once we've done the autopsy on her and kind of cleaned everything up, I sigh and this is my like for anybody watching the movie, this is the first time you get to see my six-pack abs and whatever, like all that time I spent working out. But there's a gigantic ugly bruise where almost certainly I've got a couple of bruised ribs from where I took like a combat boot in a hard kick or something like this. And I'm kind of looking at it like I gotta wrap this up if I'm gonna be able to, if I don't want to get, it's otherwise it's gonna be a really painful drive.
So there are two ways to come at that. You will notice that once per session, contemplating the symbol that is important to you will get you a point of stress back, and also treating it, so bandaging it up. So what I'd suggest is that you roll to treat it, Pluses are good, so you might not need to contemplate your symbol.
Sure. So we've whatever. I'm gonna,
I take this.
Is there a way? Sorry, is there a way to help with rolls at all?
There isn't really, I have to say. There's where you've rolled pluses on something, you can use that as fictional positioning to create an advantage for another character. But there's not a help or hinder mechanic in this, as far as I can find.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna turn to Cass and these guys probably bandage me up like on the regular, I suspect, like if we've been working together. So this is like, okay, bruise ribs, that means she's gotta, yank hard, because I can't get it all the way around me to pull it hard enough. Yeah, like I could, but it's helpful when someone.
That's great.
So treat. I got a +0 -2.
So the plus means that you've recovered a point of physical stress.
Sorry, +0.
Oh, no pluses. Then you did not succeed with that. So the only thing left to you is to contemplate the thing that empowers you to go through that wall of pain. Trey, tell us about it.
And they pull it tight and everything, and like I do that thing where I like dry chew like 4 Vicodin, right? But like one of those ribs is almost certainly just broken, and really what I should do is be going to a hospital. But like I kind of just shake my head. It's good for now. And as we are like packing our stuff to go, to get in the car and head down there, oh, you know what? Yeah, no, like actually when I pull my shirt off on a chain around my neck, I've got just the metal part, not the ribbon, of a Purple Heart, like a US Purple Heart medal, right, that I wear. And there's probably like a little crack that running down the enamel or something like that, like it's been through a lot, tarnished and everything. But I put I pull the shirt back on, and I kind of pull it out, and I just kind of like, rub my fingers against it, grip my teeth, and tuck it back into my shirt. And that'll help get me, my dad walked through like 150 miles of jungle in Vietnam to get his buddy back to wherever they needed to get to, and so like that does not compare to just this like minor aches and pains I got now. So
that's great. That's the little vignette that we see. If your dad could do it, certainly you can. So would you tick symbol, because you've now used that for this session? Okay, now what I'd like to do is to indulge in the conceit of the operator system, which is that we'll now have a scene that you're not in. So we open on a shot across some enormous windows showing the Paris skyline with the Eiffel Tower in the distance. What do we see that tells us, as we pan across the room, Yelena, that the person admiring the view has an abiding interest in history and immense wealth?
So I think the kind of Parisian haze is almost obscuring the Eiffel Tower, right? So it's one of those days in Paris, and you can't. It's like there, but it's not photo worthy. It's just there, and so what we see are these. The walls are kind of pristine white, and there's these wall hangings of original tapestries, which really should be in a museum. And they are themselves encased in glass, kind of really strong plate glass. And I think under each one, there's like a little, almost like a sideboard. Really tall ceilings, obviously. There's a sideboard with like some, leather-bound work, some tome regarding the history of the tapestry themselves, which is probably itself should be in a museum.
Yeah, and for all we know, the museum thinks that they have the originals. So yeah, right. So we see this opulent, high-ceilinged room overlooking Paris, and because of that smoggy outlook, apart from the kind of thin finger of the Eiffel Tower, our figure seems to be just silhouetted against an almost pale white-grey background. This is our villain being played tonight by Mads Mikkelsen. As we continue to pan past the back of our villain, Cassie, what describe the desk that we see where a telephone is ringing?
So the desk is it's a sort of oak sort of, it's a very nice wooden desk, very sort of classic furniture, like antique furniture, sort of, and there's like old-fashioned style fountain pen in a sort of there's like a mount for the pen it's sitting in, and it's a classic writing desk, basically, sort of thing.
Okay, where the telephone is ringing, and we see our villain, played by Mads Mikkelsen, turn towards the telephone and wander towards it in no hurry. He moves with a degree of economy. And what, Trey, does he do with the ceremonial SS dagger he's been cleaning his nails with?
Oh,
as he goes to pick up the phone.
Yeah, like he's going to pick up the phone, and I think that the phone is like a no kidding old fashioned like handset with like one of those like it's like a phone from like the 30s, right? Like a no kidding old fashioned phone where you hold it up to your mouth and you hold the earpiece to your ear, like just total affectation, right? Oh yeah.
Because that's going to take both hands, so he has to do something with that dagger.
The sheath for the dagger is like on the desk where clearly he put it down, and he takes the takes the dagger, slides it, like does the thing where he like holds it like this and carefully slides it into the sheath, and then like puts it down under the desk, and you hear a click as the magnet that he has under the desk to hold it locks it into place, and then his hands come back up and he picks up the phone.
And we split screen. On the other end of the line is his lieutenant, his key lieutenant in London, who tonight is being played by Grace Jones at her prime. So it's Bond villain night in tonight's game. And he says, he doesn't wait. He clearly knows who it is. He says, yes. And what happened? And Grace Jones says, we weren't able to recover the asset. And Mickelson's eyebrow goes up and he says, "That is unfortunate. We have no option then but to advance the program. Send the package to." Where, Cassie, does he tell our lieutenant, Grace Jones, to send the package? Does he say to send it to the clinic, the hotel, the club, the castle, or the lab?
The castle.
Just running towards the trope. Okay. And then we cut from that villain. What I'd like each of you to do is to give us a feel for your life. So we kind of had Trey's touching on his symbol and what the symbol means to him. Yelena, do you want to tell us about symbol, solace, or safety? Not for mechanical effect, just for color.
I think maybe in London her sister works. She's like a civilian at net. She works in a university in London.
What was when did you last see her, and where?
I think we saw each other maybe 6 months ago at our father's funeral.
That's great. Thank you. So we know about Maria in London. Okay. Cassie, do you want to tell us about symbol, solace, or safety?
I think I will go with solace. So every there's like a pub that that Cassie will go to, and it's where her team used to basically hang out after off duty, and her old DCI, who wasn't part of the operation, the field operation at the time the things went wrong. He still frequents that pub, so she goes down there occasionally to check in with him and see how things are back at the office.
Is he still working, or is he retired?
I think he may be retired, losing most of the people, losing most of the squad was probably a big blow for him, and maybe there was some somebody upstairs was like, okay, we gotta pin this in somebody,
So his reputation got blown, but he's still in the service.
Yeah.
What does he think you do for a living now?
He thinks I work for Special Branch.
Under deep cover, presumably.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Where do we place the next scene?
Is that a question for me, or you're muted down?
I want to know where you want to go next. Where do we? I mean, Yelena's made travel arrangements, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if we just rock straight up to Strasbourg, or do we have some kind of intervening road bump?
I tell you what. Who has come across Pierre Athanase before? The proprietor of Livre Ancien in Strasbourg, the name on Baker's address. Who's come across them?
How fancy a hotel is it?
It's a bookshop.
Oh, it's a bookshop.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a bookshop specializing in very old books. And I'm curious whether any of you have come across Pierre before.
I think maybe in my career days, I was warned off interfering with his business if you see any kind of package container with his stamp on it, just walk away, pick a different ship, pick a different train, whatever it is.
Okay, so Yelena, do you have any leverage over Pierre? Do you think then? It sounds like not, actually. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think when your direct supervisor gives you an instruction like that in the SVR, you toe the line.
Yes, yeah. Or you take a very long walk off a very short pier. Fine. So you've come across Pierre, so you know that he trades in not entirely legal tomes and books. Stuff that gets stolen from museums often ends up passing through Pierre's hands, and he has an interest in the occult. Yeah. So with that in mind, then, where do we set our next scene?
So I guess the question is, before we leave London, do we want to try and find out something about Baker? Like go to her flat or something like that. If these people know where she was, then probably there's not much to find. But
no, they could always have missed something.
How did we make contact with her? That's my question.
Or they may not have known where to look.
She rang. There must be some kind of conspiracy, anti-conspiracy based, message network that is secure from Overlook. And I think probably the message came in. We decided, I think, to Cassie about the meeting. And when she said to Cassie, I've got something about the conspiracy, you didn't have to ask which conspiracy. You heard the capital C conspiracy.
Some kind of encrypted email box or something like that. Yeah.
I think email's probably very old school. I think this is probably a message app of some description.
Oh, sure.
Yelena, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was wondering. So the exact details of the meet, how did those get arranged? So either the conspiracy cracked that, or she told them.
Very true. It was a series of messages back and forth between her and Cassie. I suppose one saying, I know something, Cassie saying, where do you want to meet? Her saying the embankment, Cassie saying when, she saying very late or early morning, bang. Yeah?
Yeah. So, yeah, it might not be a bad idea to see what we can find out at her flat. Might point in one direction or another. Maybe this guy in Strasbourg will be expecting us, or expecting her.
Well, and we also got a shot at catching them in her flat. That they may be waiting for us there, and if we can turn the tables there, then we got something to work with.
Okay, you can find the flat address on the basis of what you assume to be her real identity, as described in her wallet documentation. There's probably an address on the driving license, if nothing else. So we cut to you immediately early the following morning, if you want to get there quickly, I think. So it's morning on an East London council estate. And she's on the 5th floor. These are relatively low rise, maybe eight floors, access stairways at either end, and a kind of walkway across the front of each of them that we'll all be familiar with from a whole range of London gangster movies. So what do you do? Who does what? When? How?
I'm wondering whether at a remove, either Cass or Yelena would look more like her.
I think, given that she's called Josephine Appleton, I think she's unlikely to be Asian. I think certainly the picture looks to me as though Cassandra Sadiq is of Asian extraction. Is that fair?
Mm. She's she's from she's British, but Punjabi descent.
So I think in terms of the most obvious comparison, I think it's Yelena. You know how she was dressed yesterday, so maybe with a hoodie up.
Yeah. So I think given that we have the keys and we know the address, I think just walking in, right, with some backup at the appropriate place, right?
I've had a thought about help and hinder. I can't think of hinder at the moment, but were Trey to dress you with sufficient pluses on the dice, that might act as an advantage for you, i.e. an additional plus for you, Elena. So shall we try that one, see how it works mechanically? Trey makes a conceal roll where he has a skill of 1.
Yeah, should I go ahead and do that right now?
Please.
+1, -1.
Okay, so he does succeed, but he doesn't have so he does succeed. He passes an advantage of +1 to you, but I'm going to store up that negative for later. So Trey is currently carrying 3 complications. So you get to change one of those dice that you roll to a plus, Yelena. Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry, I have infiltrate 1. So let me roll those.
Yeah, go with infiltrate, but you still get to add that 1 for the effort Trey put into making you look the part.
Okay, so I got 2 pluses and 1 minus.
So that is success with with 2 advantages, actually. So how do you want to describe those advantages? Tell us how cool and effective this looks.
So I think like my usual approach to getting into places like this would be just to hang around for a neighbor to be going in or going out, and they will just hold the door open for me, right? So I don't even I have my keys out, but I don't need to use them. And some neighbor, holds open the door for me and says, "Morning, Josephine," or whatever it is, and that's going to look very strange in the police report later on, right? And yeah, I think again, unusually, I mean the lift is working, but I'm not taking the lift because I'm not suicidal.
What can I suggest that what Trey did was to kind of tidy up the bloodstain on the coat she was wearing. So you're actually wearing that coat.
Oh, I think we went early morning shopping to Marks and Spencer because being caught with a dead person's clothes on is just not a cool look.
Okay. But yeah, I think if I'd known the story was going this way, I would have said, of course, her keys were in her trouser pocket. So you have the keys to the flat.
But we duplicated. I mean, we went to Marks and Spencer's and bought exactly the same outfit that she was wearing the night before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fine. So you have 1 plus left, I think.
Okay. And then it's I think maybe there is there's some kind of well, I won't say security. There's some kind of a let her know if someone has been into her flat while she's away, and you have to open the locks in the wrong order, not to trigger that.
That works for me. So you are smoothly into the flat, and the neighbor does indeed believe that Josephine's just said hello in the corridor. So you will not be surprised to find that a window at the back has been jimmied and the place has been turned over. It's a mess. What makes you think that you can find something they didn't?
I think what we see is there's they made a beeline for someplace that they thought they knew where the thing was hidden. And then everything else is kind of panicked. Oh, where else could it be? And I don't know, they've never lived in London, or, they don't know a few, places that people hide things, it's like not knowing that the spare key will be in such and such a place, if someone is coming over or whatever, some just cultural touchstones that they may not be aware of.
Does that sound like surveil or infiltrate to you to find this place that they didn't think about? Well, you're muted.
Surveil maybe, but I think it's an equal stretch for both, but surveil seems more like it to me.
Fine. Give us a surveil. Oh, your new standard. Oh, I thought that was going to be 2 pluses and a minus. That was odd. But with plus, you do indeed think, well, yeah, they've gone for desk drawers. They've gone for suitcases, drawers, everything just thrown about. And it occurs to you that a less obvious place would be perhaps underneath the kitchen cooker. And there's a kind of tray under there that collects all sorts of stuff. And there is an awful lot of very unpleasant stuff in there, but there is also a small envelope. And inside the envelope are 2 things. One, a more carefully written out address for Pierre Athané, but also a registered delivery tab that says, address to Pierre and his address, but this is proof that registered something was sent. And I think it might even, I can't remember, it's been a while since I sent the registered letter, but I think that probably on that tab, it tells you, single item, letter post, weight no more than X grams. So this was quite a small thing that she sent, or at least a light thing that could go into an envelope of, not enormous scale. Does that seem sufficiently helpful?
Yeah, I'm sure we can go onto the website and plug the tracking number in and find out exactly where it is, right? And
you will discover that it was sent the day before she contacted you, and it was received yesterday. Yeah, and signed for in Strasbourg by at least someone calling themselves Pierre Squiggle. Yeah? Okay. Unless you've got anything else you want to do with that, I'm inclined to say that we skip swiftly back to the safe house or onward from there. And if it is onward from there, where is onward?
Do all roads lead to Strasbourg, or does anyone else want to do something in the meantime?
Nah, at this point, it seems like Strasbourg's where we're headed.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got an outline map of the area around Livre Ancienne. It's we probably find you in a square in the shadow of the cathedral. And his shop, all of this is pedestrianized. Yeah, I think you can see there are some broader roads to the bottom and top, south and north of this, but the area around him is pretty much pedestrianized. And at this time of day, I think we can assume that it's busy with tourists. And Rue d'Orfèvre runs north, and halfway along Rue d'Orfèvre is an archway with a large sign saying "Livre ancienne," and in French at the end of the courtyard. And when you look through that archway, you can see that there is a courtyard about 50 paces, 100 paces away. Yeah. So, what's the plan? It's morning. You got on the Eurostar that night. You're in Strasbourg the following morning.
So what do you think? Are we shaking this guy down, or do we want to, be gentle in terms of looking for intelligence? How much do we think he is enmeshed in this conspiracy?
She sent something to him. They tried to stop her, so he's mixed up in this. We may get there and find they're already there. But, I feel like a friendly warning that someone's coming after him and an offer of assistance.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
So what do we see? How does the team deploy?
Would I be right in saying that my character is the more talky person here? No, Jona's kind of nicer talky than I am.
Yeah, there's different kinds of talk. I think Yelena wouldn't it be a good idea too? And you're more, if you don't do this, I'll break another finger.
Well, it would be a shame if. Yeah, lovely bookshop you have here.
So yeah, I mean, tragedy. I suppose that's the first decision is who makes the approach, and then how do the others deploy in support of that, either on site or wherever.
I really think that this is I can't help but feel like our thing has got to be this three-prong thing, where if Elena's going in, one of us is kind of watching the front and one of us is around the back. And, then if anybody bolts or is after her or whatever, we've got the angles covered.
I'll be at the back because people tend to bolt out the back door.
Well, would someone like to surveil the location so I can tell you more about it?
Oh, yeah, that's probably not unwise.
So we've got 2 surveils. Why don't you both roll? Cassie, well, we've got 3 surveils, but shall we kick off with Yelena and Cassie casing the joint?
Yeah, Yelena's actually been here before, so.
Yeah, she probably has, because Yelena may well have been warned not just about what she should avoid, but also where to avoid.
1 plus 2 minuses for me. So it's a success, but significant complications.
Okay, so from the is that all?
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the basis of 1 plus, I'm going to assume Cassie does the back, inverted commas, Elena does the front. Elena, what you know is that at the end of this passage, which has got a gate which closes after hours because there are apartments down there as well, so residents have access, and there is a frontage on the ground floor, which is the bookshop. Next to it is a rather plush entry to the apartments above. And on the other side of the courtyard and all the way around the other 2 sides of the courtyard are the old buildings. Now you can get a sense of what the buildings are like in this area from a couple of pictures I slotted into the image, into the operations tab. So 3 or 4 floors of apartments built into old buildings, old French imperial time buildings. So there's one way in at the front, there's the apartment next door, and I think probably Yelena will do a quick brush past the front of the shop to case it. And there is Pierre Athenay is one of the apartments behind that rather plush door. Yeah. So that's the, yeah. The complication I'm going to put here is that the only balcony overlooking this courtyard is 4 floors up on the other side of the courtyard. So in terms of places to watch from, it's pretty limited. The only other thing I think I can tell you is that on one side, the apartments are supported on a vaulted kind of, it's like an open basement at ground level, and that's full of bikes. There's a series of bike racks in there. Okay, so that's the front. Cassie, all I can tell you on the basis of those 2 minuses is that there is no obvious access from the back. It looks like you've got this block of apartments with the shop at the ground level, and abutting on it is another block looking the other way. So you've got 2 frontages and no backs. Okay? And I think that's sufficiently complicated to take all of those out. Yeah? So that's the geography, such as it is. What's your thinking? Because you talked about somebody out the front, somebody out the back. The trouble is, there isn't a back to be out the back of that you can find.
So this is not a shop. This is somebody's apartment.
The Livre Ancien is the bottom floor of this old building.
Okay.
But on the door next to the bookshop, one of the names that, you know, there are like 4 apartments up there.
Got it.
One of the names is Pierre Athenay. Let's assume he's the floor immediately above the shop.
Sure. Is there what's next door to the bookshop?
It's in the corner. Side.
Oh, there we go. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So at right angles to it are is this space with bikes underneath, and opposite it is another block of flats with a balcony at the 4th. Yeah. And the other side of the courtyard is broadly open, and that's the way you get in.
Okay.
What's the plan? Yelena was going to soft talk him, I think.
Yeah, but I'd like the kind of the pivot of this to be kind of our tactical backup.
Oh my God! Here's what we do. We do a version of good cop, bad cop. Do you have good cop? Yeah, sorry. In the US, we call it good cop, bad cop. So you go in, tell him that someone's after him. You point to the scary African sitting in the cafe across the street, eyeballing, giving his place the hairy eyeball, and that'll help you convince him.
Yeah, I see that as Trey creating an advantage that Yelena could then exploit. Yeah.
In Russia, we call this Monday.
Cassie, where do we see you as this is? And because the only way into this courtyard is that archway onto Rue d'Orfèvre, this narrow medieval street that's had, you know, very posh shops layered on the ground level, but above it are these old buildings.
I think I'll be keeping watch nearby the archway. So if anybody's trying to get out, they'll have to go through there.
If share screen was easier, we'd do this by walking through Google Maps. But I know for a fact that on Rue d'Orfèvre, there is a cafe that in classic French form advertises ice cream and beer. So we'll put some tables outside that cafe so you can observe the archway. Okay, Yelena, you're on point. Trey, I think, will be fiddling with a bike just across the courtyard. So he's visible.
Yeah, and I've got like a, like a leather jacket and, like an Algerian skull cap on or something like that, just looking like dark glasses, just looking sinister.
Okay, so let's have you roll to, I think that's probably conceal, isn't it? If we've decided that's the disguise skill.
Yeah, sure. I took this as one of my good ones just for exactly such circumstances. +1, -1.
So you succeed. You look sinister, but I'm just keeping that complication in my back pocket. Yelena, you have an extra plus to play with here, because you certainly have a very sinister North African gentleman who is looking daggers at the front of the bookshop.
So yeah, I think I'll walk in and not make much of a pretense at browsing until I catch our guy's eye, and I will, sidle up to him at the front desk or whatever, wherever he's doing his job, and I will kind of look pointedly out, not exactly at Trey, but in that general direction, and offer to give him some friendly advice if he feels like he's coming under pressure.
You've got a picture of Pierre in the operations tab.
Yeah.
And Pierre looks up from, he has a large Mac computer, which doesn't quite go with his look. You're the only customer. I mean, the shop is probably about 15 feet deep by maybe 25 feet wide. Stone arches. It's whitewashed. It's very clean. There are a number of very old-looking books lining the walls, and there is a door in the wall that you think opens onto the entrance to the apartment block, to the apartments above, and the sense you get is that Pierre does not get a lot of passing trade. If you didn't know Livre Ancien was down here, you wouldn't find it. And so he looks up excuse me, can I help you?
Oh man, ring his phone, because you got that burner phone with his number on it.
Dramatic license means that you will have whatever you need when the time comes, all being good. So Yelena, what do we see you saying, doing?
So I think I have the phone out, but I'm not looking at it. I'm just flicking through the menu, like looking at him directly in his eyes. A mutual acquaintance of ours in London sent you something, and I think that has attracted the attention of the wrong people. And then I click call to prove my bona fides.
And indeed, the bookshop landline rings, and this discomforts him slightly. But let's see how your talk soft goes before I interpret his response.
I better roll and see how well I can mess up. There you go.
Remember, you have an extra plus from Trey's sinister North African observer.
So it's 1 plus and 2 minuses then.
Yeah, well, the way this works is you can convert any of those dice into a plus. So you've got a plus and a minus to play with, okay? I think that's a fair way to interpret the rules. So you succeed. You draw his attention to the sinister individual outside observing the shop. You use the telephone to back that up. And I think the complication is he says, so you are Mademoiselle Davison. What do you say, Yelena?
I say, well, of course, that's not my real name.
And I think that I think, again, dramatic license requires that to be the right answer. And he says, why have you come? My understanding was that you wanted it stored safely.
I'm afraid things have moved beyond that, Pierre.
And I think both of you look across the courtyard to where Trey is staring at the shop front. Cassie, I think I need to check how good that surveillance of yours is and whether you see anything suspicious on the road, on the street outside the courtyard. Go ahead. We're assuming that wasn't good, but you are muted, so we can't tell for certain. It's very obvious that the Met Police training on surveillance is just very poor. Now
they're too reliant on a closed circuit nowadays.
They are.
So Rob, your thumb was actually blocking one of the dice when you held it up. Was that -2 or -3?
I think I saw 2 minuses.
-3. That's what I thought.
3.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, dear
Okay.
me. Right. Then the only thing I could suggest is your training as a former Metropolitan Police detective could be invoked here to re-roll one of those minuses to see if you could turn it into a plus, if you wanted to use that up.
Yeah, so I re-rolled that and got 1. 1 plus. You're muted, Alan.
So 1 plus tells you, yes, you're not the only person watching this street. There are a couple of pavement artists who've walked past you twice now. You spotted that they are, though they're kind of swapping hats when they disappear around the corner, or one comes back with a different backpack. Clearly, the front of this courtyard, this archway, is being surveilled by some pavement artists. The complications, I think I will keep in my back pocket, meaning you are currently sitting on 4 complications. And I guess that will be communicated to the other members of the team. So, Yelena and Trey, you know that somebody is also watching this, not just you. So, Yelena, what's the pitch? He's on side. What do you want?
We have to get the package out of here immediately.
Well, it's not in the shop, obviously. I had to keep it somewhere secure.
Well, let's go.
Very well. So, Trey, you'll see Pierre go to the door of the bookshop, which is a glass door in a stone arch. You'll see him close it, lock it, and flick the sign to close. Fermé, I think. Pushing my French far further than it needs to go normally. And he will lead you through that side door, which leads into a plush stairwell with a lift. And he will press for the lift. Trey, what are you going to do when you see them leave the shop through the side entrance into the apartment access?
I am going to get up from my table there, and I'm gonna kind of walk to the entrance to the courtyard. And so, is the courtyard a thing where it's like completely open to the street? Or there's like an arch you go through, and what's you are muted.
The bookshop and the apartments are here. The archway is behind me, leading underneath the apartments that look out on the street where Cassie's checking. There's facing you are more apartments with these this bike place and more apartments on that side as well. So you've got 4 or 5 floors of apartments around 3 sides. you've got a wall and then a tunnel underneath the buildings that overlook the street.
Got it. Okay. So I'm going to do that thing where I get up and the what did you say? Street artists?
Pavement artists, the spotters that are also surveilling the archway out on the street.
Oh, sorry, pavement artists is a tradecraft term.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I beg your pardon.
Okay.
I slipped into my Le Carré fixation.
Nope. That's cool. But there's two. Are they walking together or separately?
All varieties. So separately, together. They're trying to seek the impression, as far as Cassie can tell from what she's telling you, they are trying to be different people passing up and down this street. But there's always at least one of them with eyes on the archway entrance. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. So I'm wondering if this is a thing where I can kind of hop up from the table. I've got my glass of beer with me. And kind of cross the street on a diagonal that kind of brings me in contact with one of these guys.
Okay, I think we've got a bit of misunderstanding. I have you in the courtyard where there is not a bar.
Got it.
The bar is on the street.
Sure, so there we go. Okay,
your cover was tinkering with the bicycle and eyeballing the shop.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah. So I'm gonna finish tinkering with the bike, hop onto it, and as one of these guys is walking across, I'll just run right into him and do the, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I can't, I'm sorry, I don't speak any French. Are you all right? Do we need to? And as I'm getting him up, I'm patting him down.
Okay, so there's a lot going on there. So Cassie has given you a best description, and you locate yourself where you can see the archway, the street beyond, and at the point where the person that you think is the one Cassie's got eyes on walks across the front, the bike comes out of that archway straight into this person. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing. Okay, I think that's probably move, not drive.
Yeah.
Because I don't think bicycles are driven.
No. All right, so let me see.
What? I'm shocked.
Motorcycles are driven.
+3 -1.
Okay, so you take the guy out. No, it's more interesting. You take the girl out. She goes down in a heap. You're full of apologies. You succeed. You have 2 advantages. You want to strip her of anything that might be identification. Wallet, phone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's your second advantage. The third advantage, I think. Do you want to phrase the third advantage, or you want to leave it to me?
Do you want to plant a bug?
Oh, that's great. Yeah. If I can plant something on her. Oh, no. I'll put something incriminating on her.
Okay.
Actually, no. I like Donna's idea of the bug. Yeah, if I've got some kind of thing where I can put just a little tracer or something or whatever as I'm picking her back up.
Of course, you have a tracer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dough?
Yeah.
So
it just goes in like in her pocket as I'm picking her up or whatever.
Fine. And she's very flustered and walks away at pace. And people are kind of, oh, you all right? But it goes smoothly. Cassie.
I'm like, sorry, American, sorry. Left side, right side. I don't.
I'm keeping eyes out for the other one because I spotted 2 as this is going on. So
yeah, and I think that was such a good roll that I think you will see the guy eyeball Trey and look suspicious, because while it looks like the girl fell for it, I think he was away from it and saw a very, very definite, he could have missed her if he'd wanted to. So I think that we can assume I'm going to use one of Cassie's complications that I have in stock to say that guy spotted Trey. He may not have spotted you, but he spotted Trey. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yelena, you're coming out of the lift and heading. Sorry, no, I think this is plush enough for the lift to open onto one apartment per floor. Pierre makes a lot of money out of what he does, and so we see this very attractive, stylish Paris apartment, and he makes a beeline for a Degas print on the far wall, which he lifts away, and there's a safe behind it. He opens it, and he removes a padded envelope about so big, slightly more than letter A4 sized. Yeah. And he says, well, if you don't want it stored, then take the fucking thing.
Is there anywhere you can go now? Because I'm sure the conspiracy are going to be after you.
I think we'll probably, as you leave the apartment, we'll see Pierre furiously packing the most important items. The Degas print, a couple of very fine bronzes, 3 or 4 of his most valuable books, the stuff that he keeps for portable wealth in case of emergencies.
Gutenberg Bible, the Shakespeare First Folio.
Yes. Cassie.
Oh, and sorry, I'm going to ask him, is there a secret back door out of here? You're muted.
There's a fire escape that you have to go up 2 floors on the fire stair, and then there's a way out almost from the roof. Takes you along the roof and down.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I'll take that and alert the other guys that that's the route out.
Cassie, it's not quite speaking into his sleeve, but certainly that other pavement artist is now reporting in. What do you do, Cassie?
So I am at the beer place.
You are.
So, and being a Brit, I probably did beer.
Yeah, certainly not the ice cream.
So I'm gonna just walk up to him and splash the beer right where where the electronic thing is that he's trying to talk into.
Okay, Trey, what we've had the collision. The girl has walked away. What are you doing at this point?
Man, do I see Cassie getting into trouble over there?
You see Cassie walking towards another person.
Yeah, and she's spilling the beer.
Well, I suppose what I'm wanting to know is, do you do anything apart from kind of fuss around with the bike until something else happens?
No, I'm faffing around if I start walking straight towards them, that blows her.
Okay.
Cover. So I don't want to out her.
So I'll come back to you when we see how things go with Cassie. So Cassie, you walk up to him, and I'm going to burn another one of your complications for him to see you coming and attack you at the point you try to throw beer at him. So would you fight, please? It's when you're muted, all we've got is that face to go on, and it doesn't look good at the moment.
Right, so I got 1 minus.
And nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, he drives his fist into your diaphragm at the point that you are about to do something, and you take a point of either physical or mental stress. The choice is yours.
I'll take physical. Do I have like a set amount of stuff in my track, or is it just
you've got a maximum of 2? But remember, if you force a change in location in some way, you can get 1 back, or in effect have an extra stress point every round because your fight is 1. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So in that first round, he saw you coming and he just walloped you. What do? Fight or run?
I'm gonna knee him in the nads.
So another round of combat ensues in the street. So go for it. Fight can't come out that badly twice, surely.
This is, I mean, it seems very strange to start a fight before someone spills the beer on you. I mean, it's
it looks like he made you in the same way he made Trey.
Plus, minus.
Okay.
You've gone muted again.
The plus does harm on him, but the minuses are either complications for you or harm or stress. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use those minuses not to do harm on you. I think he uses the opening to run for it, disappearing into the crowds in the square just down the way outside the cathedral. And I mean, you could try chasing him, but given that you're starting on -2, you'd have to notch up an awful lot of pluses very quickly to make up that space. So I don't want to set you off on that with a false expectation. What do you want to do?
I mean, I'm going to try and chase him.
Okay, so let's have you move. I'm not sure the parkour is going to work in here. It's going to be avoid the tourists chasing this.
Yeah. 1 plus, 1 minus.
So sadly, you are still on net -2. You have another couple of rounds to notch up what will be 3 pluses. Net 3. That's pretty tough. So roll the dice with lots of pluses and very few, if any, minuses.
Can I help out?
Let me have another round, and then
sure.
it'll be clear to you what's going on.
2 minuses.
He's gone.
He's gone. I think, Trey, you see the events. The guy takes off. You see Cassie make an effort to get after him, but clearly that was more winded than she.
And then
thought.
like a tour group walks in between the two of them, right? Yeah.
It would have been a steam train in a different circumstance.
Yeah.
We'll keep that for when Elena's chasing something later. So
regardez la Tour Eiffel. Yeah.
Yeah, the big red umbrella. So you've lost them both, I think, now, because Trey didn't take off after the girl. The guy has legged it. Yelena can report that she is on the ground on the other side of these blocks at the end of Rue d'Orfèvre. Rendezvous or do something else?
I think rendezvous, because we haven't lost those surveillance people, because we have a tracker on one of them. So, hands off, let them meet up for coffee, and then we'll.
I don't know if you can see this on the map. Can you see just north and a little bit west of the yellow dot I marked for the shop? There's a little square with road access and parking. Shall we assume that that's where you parked the car, Yelena, and you will come down? There is a Latin dance entertainment business just overlooking that. Let's assume that the fire exit ultimately brings you down there into that open space. Yeah?
That's a perfect place to hide.
And I'm going to assume that that is the rendezvous where we'll see all of you getting into the car and driving away. Yeah? Now, I'm conscious we've got 20 minutes left to play, and in this session, what I'd like to do is to tell you what's in the envelope. Yeah? In the envelope are 2 things. One, a very old letter. It's written on quite fragile now, I guess, paper. It's in a plastic envelope, but you can read through that. And in a moment, I won't show you the letter because it's in German, dated 1908. But more interestingly, conceivably, is a flimsy, just bear with me, somewhere I have it. Yes. On a flimsy dated 1948, shortly, a tab will appear in the character keeper called The Letter. And you will find a letter that says, as well as the letter, which is signed Abraham Van Helsing. You will find for archive, His Majesty's Pursuivants, 3rd October 1948, translation begins, and a translation of the original. If you can see it, if you want to just skim that, while I provide the other piece, the other flimsy that is in the envelope. Which is a commentary written by Scarlet Dragon Pursuivant. It is attached by an ancient rusted post-war paperclip, and it provides a commentary provided by the Pursuivants on the letter. I'm not expecting you to digest that now, but it will sit there in the character keeper for you to browse at your leisure between now and the next session, because I think we've reached a logical break. Yeah? And if it's okay with you, I'd like to use the last 15 minutes or so for a bit of feedback.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Can we get any of our stress back, or is that something that happens at the beginning of next session?
Well, I think at the beginning of the next session, I'll let you, let's do that now. Let's have another treat, because there is no automatic recovery. And yeah, again, it's one of those points where the rules are a little bit obscure. Shall we say that you can we leave it to the start next time? Because then you could have a treat in the session, and you could then consider your symbol or solace.
Yeah, totally
again.
cool.
Yeah, okay.
That all works.
Remind me at the start of the next session, because it would be good if you'd had a bit of recovery. Thank you for that. I'll keep recording, because I like to browse the feedback after the event, if that's okay with you. But before I do anything else, I fail to do this too often, are you content for me to post this, assuming the recording has gone to plan? Thank you very much. So, Roses and Thorns is my preferred model. Can I do roses first, across from left to right in the character keeper? So, Jim, any roses?
Oh, yeah. So whenever we play a game like this, I always offer roses to everybody that indulges my crazy scenery chewing bullshit. So thank you, folks, everybody, taking my suggestions and stuff like that. I do appreciate that. So definitely, around the horn for that. And I think roses for all of us for persevering through that technical nonsense that we finally got there. And figured that out. I thought that was kind of, that was it was frustrating. We lost one of our players, but I'm glad we stuck it out, because the game turned out to be really fun. So that was great. And let me see here. So yeah, Donna, I like Yelena's. She's got that. I loved the thing where you said, what do you know about him? Oh yeah, he's bad news, stay away from him. Which is a cool thing. It's that's like a total espionage thing, where the temptation is to give you some kind of tight connection. The story game temptation is to give you some kind of tight connection, but the genre thing is definitely oh yeah, no, you don't mess with him. Like anytime you get one of his packages that goes over your doorstep, you say no thanks and walk away if you know it's good for you. So, which kind of builds him up in a particular way, which I thought was really cool. That was a lot of fun. And Rob, your I liked your very much. We definitely got the sense that like the sense I got was you really liked being a cop and you wished you were still a cop, which is kind of one of those, some of us may like, not be so like I maybe don't mind being a hitman for the CIA anymore, but like I just got this sense that, oh man, I miss being a cop. And I really like that was a fun part of the whole thing there. And Alun, roses to you for finding actually some pretty organic ways to work those flashbacks in and to encourage us to use them and to be good about kind of guiding us through and introducing the rules that we needed as we needed them, rather than like, I know my bad habit is to like info dump stuff at the beginning. And you did not do that. We got right into the action. And then as we needed to learn about stuff, you introduced it, which I really like. And it made it. And like, I think I have a sense, at least of everything you've introduced. I feel like I have a pretty good sense of how it worked. And that was a good way to do this, especially because we're mixing our, systems and stuff like that. So
thanks for that, Jim. Donna, you're next up. I think any stars?
Roses or stars, I'm not sure.
Roses. I get confused.
Jim, I like this character Trey, right? Because although we started with a fight, you might have had your ass handed to you due to the dice rolling, which we all indulged in a bit. When you were first given a chance to, hit back at someone, you stood off. It's nice to see. The guy who can kick all of the ass in the world being willing to, just be threatening for a while. There'll be plenty of time to take off the gloves. So yeah, I like that. And Rob, I kind of the same kind of sense that Jim gave, but also like maybe this is like more of a wish than a rose, but like there's a sense of history, with your character that we don't have a clue of, that this whole secret police agency, I'm sure it's not the Rivers of London, Alun, is the pursuivants. Anyway, so yeah.
I cannot deny or admit to any
okay.
Intellectual property content.
Yeah. Similar to but legally distinct is the line I will espouse. And I kind of, maybe this is like what I want to see next session. I want to see some of that ancient history come out. Yeah. And Alun, I think as I had when I first ran operators, a lot of moments of this system is not really helping me to do what I think it should be doing, and then just like, well, whatever. Here's something I know works. Let's go with that, and just but not like just ignoring the system, obviously, but working it well that way.
Yeah, I think that there's a sense in which this is a framework of rules rather than a set of rules. Yeah, fair point. Yeah. Rob, any roses?
So rose for Jim. I like the little ideas that you throw in for stuff, like just as one example, we actually went in and bought the exact same outfit for Yelena to wear.
I think that was Donna and I kind of having the same thought at the same time, sort of there, yeah.
And Donna, I like the Yelena being basically I think what they call it in the Night's Black Agents is the cuckoo, sort of like where they pretend to be somebody really convincingly. Like you pretended to be Baker going into the apartment, and then you pretended to be the person that that Pierre was expecting to meet. It's a very classic spy trope. I really like that. And Alan, just set the way you set the scene. Like your very cinematic sort of scene setting, and a great sense of place that you get across.
Thank you for that. I mean, I'd endorse all of that, but I think the real kind of rose that each of you deserves is engagement with the genre. So in the first 10 minutes of this movie, we have a bad guy crushed by a speedboat, and we have the disguised muscle, engaging. And then we have our parkour policewoman off across the top of the National Theatre. So, as an opening scene, the box office is already bulging. So that was great. So, yeah, engaging with the genre, I think, was spot on. I thank you all for that.
The super cool. So there's one thing I want to say, which is the super cool thing. If like you are watching a movie and it's a place you've been to watch an action scene happen there, like I have been, like I'm an American and I've been to the place that you were talking about, outside with the theater and stuff like that and everything. To see somebody doing cool stunt stuff is like extra cool because it's like not a set. It's like, holy shit, I've been there. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, we're expecting this to go well in the States, Jim, I have to tell you. A largely European cast, but we expect it to go well. And yeah, I think this is probably Trey's first major role in this European thriller. Okay, Thorns. I'll go back the other way. Rob, do you want to kick off with Thorns?
So I'm not convinced about the chase mechanic. It feels very sort of weighted against the chaser.
Punitive.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that something Lowell said last time was when we had the other experimental sessions of this, was that no matter how you use them, fate dice are very unforgiving. And there's not a lot of subtlety in that. To get 3 pluses on one roll is I think it's down there in the kind of 6-7%. It's tiny. So yeah, I'm not convinced. I think Kyle was brave to try to do something different with fate dice. But yeah, I wouldn't disagree with you. Anything else, or I'll move on to Donna. Okay, Donna, you're up.
Just to comment on that, if I can, when I ran this, I looked at that and I went, no one is ever going to catch anyone, even with a move or a drive of 1. And I just made it the same as the rest of the system. Pluses matter, minuses are just complications. It's not net pluses. And we had some close chases and whatever else. So I would just do a quick rewrite on that rule.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say we had no chases in the first outing to speak of, apart from one where, for reasons I won't bother you with, they couldn't catch it. But yeah, I think you're right. I don't think the chase mechanic works. I'm more encouraged by the fight mechanic, so I'm curious what you made of that.
Yeah, well, we played in person, so I had the fight and the chase decks, which were good spurs, but not necessary, So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that goes with. But like you, very quickly I figured out, and you've at this stage run this more than I have. Those complications, like what will I do with those? Oh yes, I will make the final baddie actually tough to beat. That's what you're storing up, some extra special fights for the end.
Yeah, and it must be said that you are currently, because one of the things I ran into difficulties last time was not being clear how quickly complications would arrive. I didn't spend them almost at all in the first session. And so I ended the second session with, tons of them. So I think it is about finding ways to keep that economy moving a little bit. Yeah. Anything else, or move on to Jim?
I guess I would usually like to get a real sense of the people we're fighting, and I think they've all been kind of in the mook territory, like nothing really to distinguish them. So that's kind of one thorn I would throw on events.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. That was deliberate, really, because I wanted to try to get a flow in the mechanics without bringing in any big bads at this point. But I promise you, I'll offer you a big bad in the second one. Honest, I think it's one of the difficulties of the two-shot is that you don't really have a lot of space. But no, I take that point.
I do want to add, not really a thorn, more of a wish that we get a bit more into our player characters, like how they interact with each other, because it's been, I mean, it is the spy genre, but you still like maybe have a bit of camaraderie, and it just feels like okay, we're just a team and we're doing a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, with a two-shot, finding the space for that and also putting, a couple of action events in, I think is a challenge. So I'll do what I can. I'll put it on the wish list. But realistically, I don't know. Okay. Jim, thorns?
Yeah, so like I don't know that it's not a system thorn or anything like that. And again, like maybe more of a wish, but like we just had a big budget spy thriller, and at the end of it, we have no sense of who on the team wants to sleep with who has slept with who's exes, who's mad at somebody because they got their girlfriend killed. Like we have no sense of any of that. And like, and part of, and I wonder, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that thing where I redesign the game because it's not my game. But like, yeah, we don't have any sense of that at all. And I would love it if we could get some kind of sense of that. I guess the other thorn that I have was the most surprising moment of the game, and the thing that what kind of seemed the strangest to me was I get into this fight with this guy, and it's like a standoff. He's bruising my ribs and everything. Another guy runs by me, and with a single plus, I just pop him and he's dead. But it's like, oh, okay, fight versus shoot. Got it. Okay. But the way that like I have very little sense of not just the action economy, but the weight of any individual given actions. I think this is a thing that I heard you guys talking about at the beginning of the game in a conversation I wasn't participating in, but like I was like, oh, cool, we're playing Nice Black Operators, and like right over my shoulder, I've got in the bookcase there, well, it's off camera, I've got like 10 copies of Operators, right? So I'm like, cool, I'll just grab it and flip through it and look at the skill list. Yeah, which is actually not a thing you can do because the skill list is not actually in there. So
no.
Okay.
It's odd, isn't it? And yeah, it feels like a good, this might sound offensive to Carl, I don't know, but it's kind of a good draft of a game.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's been worked enough.
Yeah,
because I think the chase mechanic is a case in point. So yeah, I think there are some issues with it. And I mean, I think he and I exchanged a couple of messages when I said I was thinking of running this, and his point was, well, it is about action.
Yeah.
And I think that when I run it, I've got a 5-shot in later in the autumn, which will give it a little bit more breadth, I think. But the key question is whether this has got legs to run Night Black, or to get the spirit of Night's Black Agents. And I don't know yet. I think there's enough possibilities.
So yeah, and my other thorn is that I have absolutely zero sense of what again, talking about the weight of the weight of those complications. Towards the end, I started to get a sense that essentially that they kind of function like MC moves in a PBTA game, because it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to burn a complication to say he noticed you. I'm going to burn a complication to say, that that you got spotted, like burn a complication to say you got spotted, burn a complication to have, your car not start for a second or whatever. And all of those feel to me very much like that's a thing that you would do as like, as a move, as a PBTA.
I think you're absolutely right.
MC.
And it would be, I think, helpful if the rules provided some guidance about that.
Yeah, and it's because it's completely opaque to me. And like I also have absolutely zero sense of, having accumulated those over the course of 2 hours, are you then obliged to parcel them out as you spend them, or can you just like drop some kind of hammer on me and spend them all at once and completely mess up my day?
Yeah,
and I've absolutely zero sense of that.
Yeah, I think there is no guidance. I think it's what makes the narrative interesting. That's the only handrail I've got at the minute. That what I have done is to use them as the way to power occult. So when the opposition go occult on you, it will cost complication instead of aberrance.
Yeah, when the ghouls, are bulletproof or whatever. That's okay, or ripping us up with their teeth.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I mean, I think you've picked up the thorns that I have a feeling for. For what it's worth, that was smoother than last time, because I think I wasn't using complications at all. And I think they started session 2 with 8 or 9 complications on each of the sheets, which is just madness.
Like I don't like if you had accumulated 9 complications on me, I would like maybe develop a cold or something before next week's game, or like have some kind of family emergency. I don't know. That's
okay. So
Alan, I'm really sorry. I've developed 9 complications over here.
So in terms of wishes, then, what I've got so far is some kind of sense of the backstory, the history in this. Yeah. And when you skim the letter, that will begin to give you some clues on that, maybe. Something about relationships between you. There is nothing to say that the flashbacks you use to Prime, or the opportunities I give you to talk about solace, safety, whatever, that can't be the medium for developing that backstory. I mean, to be honest, that is something I've changed, because in Operators as written, there's a weakness. There's the thing that you hark back to as the action hero, the regret. I wanted to try and embody the bits of NBA around symbol, solace, safety, so I dumped the other one in favor. But there's no reason why you can't use that to develop some of that interrelationship. I think that's probably going to be more likely than a scene where you're having that conversation, because there's no mechanic here for any kind of player-on-player relationship building, apart from if you use it as a flashback. So I think that might be something to think about for next time. Any other wishes in any order you like? Because I'm conscious I've kept you over time.
Yeah, I want to see some vampires. Yeah, like some ghouls, some Renfields,
you can't have a vampire in Act 1. What am I keeping in my back pocket to spend those complications?
Come
on.
But some kind of something. I want to see it.
Well, there will be opportunity for you to do something about that next time, because we do have another off-screen villain scene to play at the start of next time.
Shit. And I like we got to mix it up with Grace Jones, because that's like I'm looking forward to that.
So, any other wishes then? So I've got vampires, history, and relationships. Any more for any more?
I think that covers me. I mean, if you were running Monster Hearts, Alan, you would not have allowed, someone to get healed without some kind of sexual undertone there. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, and that of course is why I don't run it. I can't deal with all of that. Anyway, okay, guys, thank you for that. I will. I think that I will try StreamYard again next week, because I think what we discovered was probably that the problem was at Kevin's end, not ours. But I'll stop the recording now.